Good evening, folks. This is Deb and Dave, and we're here on a Monday night instead of a Sunday night. It is the 23rd of September. And tonight, it's the importance of unions, striking, organizing, and all that stuff, because we are having a huge resurgence of unions now, and it's making the greedy corporate motherfuckers very nervous. But we need to keep this going. So I'm going to turn this over to Dave, who's a union guy.
Hi, how are you? So before we go on to this, I'm not really going to talk about Tim Walsh, even though he is definitely a friend of unions. Um, I'm I'm going to go more at the very top of the ticket. I'm going to talk a little bit about Trump, and I'm going to talk about Harrison and Biden. I'm also going to talk about some of the things that are going on recently, like the auto workers strike against pending strike against Stellantis, which is a car manufacturer, and everything going on with the Teamsters, from truck drivers, Amazon truck drivers joining the Teamsters, to the decision not to endorse any presidential candidate at all nationally, which obviously I disagree with, but not that big of a deal. And I'll explain why. So let us start with. And I did what I wasn't going to do, but there you go. Just little introduction to unions. I wanted something about, why unions exist and all that stuff. Uh, this is a pretty good nutshell. Unity is worker strength. Where you have enough workers together with a common goal, and you can speak against uh, management when they either violate the contract, or they try to abuse people, or they try to discriminate. So better contract, better conditions, safety, um, better pay, health care, all of that. Although it's not just about that. Holiday pay, and not only that, but sick time, and as well as vacation time. Wages, of course, equal opportunities, protection against discrimination. And EEO, this is where EEO comes in. When someone talks about how you shouldn't be there because that's a black job, Mr. Trump, that is discrimination. When you see uh, bosses discriminate against transgender people, which I've seen it, against autistic people on the spectrum, I've seen it. LGBTQ in general, I've seen it. All of that can be combated through unions. Parental leave, or let's say when COVID hit, we actually, if we were struck with COVID, we got up to 14 days of administrative leave when COVID actually hit. Parental leave means your kid is sick, FMLA, that kind of thing. Security and stability, health and safety, legal support, and also not only legal support, but also informing your workplace of a new policy or whatever. Um, and also having somebody to have your back. Not every local has a strong local union, but I do recommend supporting your union, holding them accountable too, by the way, which helps strengthen it. And if you yourself are interested, become a union rep yourself, if that's your thing. Okay. Uh, this just struck me too. Workers Against Poverty. You would be amazed at how many people come to work and are homeless. Okay.
I would not be amazed. I have been there.
Some people would be
I know.
amazed. And
I
it
think
is
most people
so
would be
difficult.
amazed.
Yeah. It's so difficult to come to work when you don't have a house to go to, especially if you have kids.
Right.
So, so because
Can I just
unions are,
interject something about that?
yeah, sure.
And even when you do have a place to go at night, okay, very often it's a hotel room. It's
Right,
not a house. It's not even an apartment.
right,
Okay. When I was homeless back in the early 2000s, it was a hotel. I forget what the name of it was. Something
right.
Suites Hotel. It was basically four people in a big room with a very small kitchen, two little children, two adults. It is not an easy thing to get up every day and have to do that.
There are there are systems in place. There are, it's none of my business if you don't want to tell me, but there are probably people in my job right now who have that situation. Now, so because unions deal with extremely large groups of people and you're dealing with the workplace. Of course, it is something that the Democrats really want. And because it deals with large groups of people, of course, the Orange Jackaloon wants the union just a kind of a badge of honor kind of thing. He wants it too. Trump and Harris, with historically different records on labor issues, are both counting on union voters, not the gentleman from the auto workers, because at least not Trump, because he called Trump a scab on national TV during the convention. By the way, so uh, this is Sean O'Hara. Okay, initially I understood it, or I understood the thought process behind it. However, this is 2024, and you have a fascist, anti-union lunatic running against Kamala Harris. I understand where he's coming from, where he was trying to get leverage or whatever, and he wanted Kamala Harris to basically tell him it's okay for him to strike whenever he needed to. She's not going to do that. She's not going to do it. So he
Let me just say,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
let me just say something here. I am a big respecter of unions, but this guy is so full of shit. It's not even funny. Okay. I don't give a shit if his membership was split down the middle. Okay. We
Actually,
are
he
in a
claims it is, yeah.
situation, and I'm not sure I believe any of that, quite frankly.
Right.
I'm going to be really honest with you. Although I know there are some very dim-witted people out there who somehow continue to support Trump, even though he's anti-woman, anti-gay, anti-trans, and anti-union. I get it.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what? There are self-loathers in all of those categories. Okay.
Right.
But in a situation where we are facing either democracy or autocracy, you take a fucking stand. Okay.
Right.
Because he endorses Kamala Harris doesn't mean he's forcing his members to vote for her. They will vote for whoever they want. Okay. But the point is, you take a stand at this time. You do not exhibit this level of cowardice. This is pure political cowardice. He probably wants to get his ass reelected to his position, and he's not going to take a stand. He's just going to ride it right down the middle and pretend this is just 2016 all over again.
He
Well, it
got
ain't.
he
Okay.
he got skewered. He got skewered by his fellow Teamsters. He got skewered by Hoffa. You know, so I don't think he's going to get reelected, to be completely honest with you. But here's the bottom line: the Teamsters have 1.3 million members. The local Teamsters Union have defied the national and run to the podium and endorsed Kamala Harris. All of these local Teamsters unions in Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, all these critical states. So what he did is it's gonna bite him. I understand you're constantly looking for leverage as a union representative. He blew it. In my mind, he blew it. Everybody, I don't care about AOC. I don't care about that. I care about the people within his own union are talking back to him, saying he made a mistake. So, and here,
Well, did he make this mistake in a vacuum?
no, he didn't.
Well,
He didn't.
he's really stupid then.
And here's the point. This is from the nation. This is talking about all those local Teamsters um, unions, all the locals running to support her. 1
And
million
the
out
ones
of
in the swing
1.3.
states, the ones in the swing states especially. And that's what's
Yep,
important.
yep. And that was it. She got him, despite Sean O'Hara. And apparently they had a meeting and it was very, tense and blah blah blah. Sorry, dude, you blew it. In my humble opinion, you blew it. Now, Trump claims to be pro-worker. His record says he's anti-union. He is pushing this notion that the National Labor Relations Board, which is the cornerstone of unions, it is one of the cornerstones. It is the group that protects unions from being discriminated against. It and protects against union busting, basically. And as a matter of fact, the UAW just filed a labor charge when Stellantis backed out on one of the deals in their contract. So let's see. So, yep. So here we go. So here's one of them. One of the decisions uh, makes it easier for government employees nationwide not to pay union dues and still be covered. Um, so threatening to shut down uh, plants. I mean, big, huge battles with the auto workers. And he also, while saying that the NLRB was unconstitutional, he would fill positions in the National Labor Relations Board with anti-union people.
So, in short, my friends in the union, if you're voting for Donald Trump, just
You're a
be aware
lunatic.
that
You're
you're not
wrong.
only voting against your own best interest, but you're selling everyone else up the river. And for what purpose? What has this guy actually done for anyone who's in a union? I'd like someone to just name something. Feel free in the, you know, when we put this video up, please let us know what great things Donald Trump has done for union workers.
Don't you dare say hired Louis DeJoy.
Yeah, yeah.
God help us. But and on the other end, you have Biden and you have Harris. Biden likes to consider himself the most, if not one of the most, or one of the most, if not the most, uh, pro-union presidents in modern history. They're comparing him to FDR.
The only man to ever stand on a picket line with workers was Joe Biden.
and that was the United Auto Workers.
Yep.
So you remember he negotiated for sick time for the rail workers after the rail strike. Uh, let's see here. Oh, this isn't the one with the list. There we go.
This guy has done an awful lot for unions and to
So
promote unions.
he promoted joining union, and in a video message he asserted there shall be no intimidation, no coercion, no threats, no anti-union propaganda. All of that is what the NLRB fights. 2022 executive orders to improve conditions for work on federal projects, including the use of project labor agreements for federal construction projects, which requires unionized workers to work on those projects. His administration also created new rules for federal worker pay equity. And remember, the CHIPS Act, and not for nothing, Build Back Better, which didn't pass, but it would have helped. And all of the stuff that Kamala Harris is proposing in terms of lowering housing costs and all of that kind of thing, it it lends towards a stronger workforce. Ooh, okay. In the month of April alone, banned and non-compete clauses that can stop workers from taking another job in their same line of work if they quit. By the way, I work for the Postal Service. You can't work for Amazon. You can't work for FedEx. You can't work for UPS, period. Expanded eligibility for overtime pay to people making up to 58,656 a year. I don't know why so specific, but whatever. Up to the
Let me
current cap.
point out to you that Project 2025 will eliminate overtime. If they can avoid it, they will eliminate
That
overtime.
was, I will put in, if I can find it again, the Project 2025. I had an article that basically talked about that.
Yep.
Eliminating overtime, um, gutting, gutting union protections, all of that kind of thing.
Safety.
Yep, absolutely. Let me see if I can find it actually. And he even says it, you should all remember the National Labor Relations Act. That's a huge, that is a huge tool. Now, it's not to be used lightly, and it doesn't happen every day. But when you violate labor law like that, you could put in a labor charge. I have the thing. Let me see here. Um, this was the exact article. So let's just go to it. Why not? So let's see. There you go. So these are the 10 things that Project 2025, and do not for 1 second think that Trump doesn't endorse this.
He can't run away from this anymore.
He can't run away from it.
He cannot run away from this anymore. JD Vance literally in a speech endorsed it as part of the ticket. So there's no running away from this now.
Restricting access to overtime pay. What Deb was just talking about. Ending workplace safety, allowing states to sidestep worker protection. It's basically gutting unions, eliminating public sector unions, stripping protections for misclassified workers, shielding major brands from accountability for labor violations. It's gutting the unions. That's what this is. Um, curtailing workers' speech rights, making it harder to win union recognition. It's difficult already. Denying labor rights to employees at smaller businesses, weakening bedrock legal protections, which basically means probably eliminating the National Labor Relations Board and the and EEO, the Equal Opportunity or Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Now, where the NLRB protects the unions and helps them continue to exist, the EEO is for people who are discriminated against on base of gender, sexual identity, race, um, also handicap or disability. Okay. So there's another one. Joe Biden boosting bottom up union organizing. Remember, Deb mentioned it. Unions are up significantly now because of Biden's efforts to help boost membership. Here, there. So here are a couple of things that are currently happening. United Auto Workers, they had a deal with Stellantis. Stellantis, uh, they promised that they were going to open some plants and that kind of thing. They decided not to open at least one or two mail or sorry, not mail plants, auto plants, and the union is clapping back at it and basically saying that Stellantis reneged on their deal. What's wrong, Deb? You okay?
What's going on outside my house, but it's noisy.
Okay. So there's the potential auto strike against Stellantis by the UAW, and now you have hundreds of Amazon delivery drivers in New York joined up with the Teamsters. That's a huge deal for them to get representation. That's a big deal. Um, so truck drivers have had it rough for a while. I don't know if you remember this, Deb. There were cement truck drivers that left the cement in the trucks, and they actually lost this case because they destroyed the truck or like damaged the trucks.
Right.
But they did win. It's like you can't do property damage, but at the same time, yes, you have the right to strike.
Right.
So they won on that end, but they can't get a little too cute and creative and,
Right.
and hurt them that way. You know what I mean? Um, so this just goes into the history of truck driving. I'm not going to, just understand that none of this stuff lives in a bubble. There was legislation back in 1980 which basically deregulated the trucking industry, which meant that anybody with a CDL license could do this, but it also not only diluted the quality of the service, but also affected wages and everything else. Okay, so eh, right thing. Come on. There we go. This is the this is the decision of those Amazon workers to organize with the Teamsters.
Nice.
Okay. So, by the way, I'm not demonizing the Teamsters. I think that that they made a mistake by not endorsing Harris
I
at
think he
this
made a
time.
mistake. I don't
He
have a
made a
problem with
mistake.
the Teamsters.
Correct. Correct. John O'Hara made a mistake.
He was a coward.
And he's getting skewered within his own union, to be
Good.
honest with you.
Deserves that. Yep. That's good.
Yep.
Saves me the trouble.
Right. So this is that cement truck thing where they said, listen, you can't do that, but you could still strike. So I talked about the National Labor Relations Board. Here are typical charges against a workplace. Um, Threats, interrogations for an unlawful disciplinary action against employees for union activity, um, improper investigation of of an incident, uh, promises of benefits to discourage unionization, also uh, threats to a group of workers if they don't vote a certain way. I've heard that. Um, in the context of collective bargaining relationships, refusals to provide information, refusals to bargain, withdrawals of recognition. So, or let's say I asked for a union representative for whatever. I'm asking for FMLA. Okay. I asked for a union representative. Half hour later, I get disciplined for asking for a union representative. I've seen it before. That is the labor charge because they're attacking your right to inquire and even possibly file a grievance. This is the NLRB. A little bit of information about the type of charges, and this is the page that you go on to self file. I don't recommend you self filing. I would recommend you go to your union first and see, hey, is this serious enough and a viable charge to file? Because the last thing you want to do is put in a BS charge and nothing happened and your credibility is shot. That's how I feel about it. This is EEOC. I'm being harassed or discriminated against because I'm on the spectrum or I'm gay or whatever it is. It's typically that kind of thing. Okay. And if you're being discriminated against because you're a union rep, that's actually the National Labor Relations Board. But this is you're black and they comments about black jobs or whatever. Um, you're you have a disability and you're being harassed, told to hurry up, that kind of thing. That's where EEO comes into play. And look at all this stuff. They actually have a newsroom. They update you. 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. Um, there was one in here, I think. Let's see. Oh, the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. I saw that. Oh, there's a lot of I, for some reason is the disability discrimination is really really big right now. So you can take a look at this. All day medical care clinic agrees to pay $75,000 to resolve a disability discrimination suit. So there you go. Speaking of, discrimination, I just threw this in here. Please tell me what a black job is. Right there, that's a charge for EEO. So
Right.
you know. No, you can't be here. You're not in a black job. What the hell? Okay. Just saying. Now, we have an election coming up. We have Senate elections coming up. And there is a gentleman that used to be a union or a labor organizer. He used to work at Kellogg's and he was a steam fitter. And he's running against Deb Fisher in Nebraska. Take a look at this guy. Now he's an independent. He's different. He's not a Democrat, but he has labor roots, which to me tells me that this guy, you don't have to label him a Democrat, but it's good enough. Dan Osborne, union leader, steam fitter, hopes to consolidate anti-Republican coalitions in the deep red state in his bid for Senate as an independent.
And the Democrats haven't won a seat in Nebraska for 18 years. So you know what? We'll take
Let's
it.
go. We'll take it.
We'll take it.
It's fine. Take it away from a Senate Republican. And by the
We
way,
get rid of the Republican Party. You know, this party is unsalvageable. The people in it are unsalvageable. Um, you know, and I don't want to hear that, you know, yeah, Lisa Murkowski and Susan
Susan
Collins crossed
Collins,
the aisle to support IVF. I don't want to hear any of that because you know what? With very few exceptions, they've remained mute through this whole Trump thing. And you know what? They're no better than the rest of them. Okay.
right,
This party, there can be no survivors left over the next 2 or 3 voting cycles. There are some people we can't get rid of this cycle. They're not up for reelection. The entire House is up for reelection every 2 years. We can get rid of them. Some of these senators will be hanging on until the next midterm, and
right.
then they have to go. There is absolutely nobody in this party, they have proven this, that will cross the aisle to make real change. They have stymied everything since winning the House. This cannot
Nebraska,
continue.
Nebraska is literally in the center of the country. you know, um, this is literally middle America. And this guy deserves a shot. Now I'm hearing a lot. I typically don't pay attention to polls. You guys know that. However, I do listen to trends, and people are starting to say in the news, wow, look at this guy. Could this guy actually win? Could this one actually win? Could this one? Yeah, we're hearing it in Florida. We're hearing it in Texas now with Colin Allred. Florida with Debbie Mercosur Powell. We're hearing it everywhere now. Okay, can this guy have a shot? And but yes, the Democrats they begrudgingly uh, supported him because he's
That's okay.
not technically. I'm cool with it. I'm really cool with it.
I can
Because it's
understand why they're begrudgingly supporting him. I honestly,
right.
because you know,
It's like why isn't he a Democrat? Why is he an independent? Blah 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 blah.
right.
You know, uh, here's another thing that he does, which shows me some positives. Hosted 9 town halls, offered to debate Fisher. She doesn't want anything to do with it.
Because
Well,
she's
no,
a Republican.
right. So a couple other things. I just want to throw this in here because it kind of explains how the NLRB came to be and the fact that, yes, as a matter of fact, it is constitutional.
Right.
And one more thing, at some point we may be talking about it. This is only state law and it's state law in our state. The reason why we're doing this today and not yesterday is because there was an informational Zoom on Prop 1, which is strengthening the Equal Rights Amendment in New York State, adding more language to protect more. We may do some more stuff on this, but just understand that this already exists. They're just talking about strengthening the language to add gender identity to it. That's most of it. But this talks about enforcement of current law, which means to a gay married couple, they're covered by FMLA, or like childcare. Like if someone gets pregnant and has their kid, the the spouse has a right to bonding time. Okay. Uh, Transgender individuals, they cannot be harassed when they try to go to the bathroom of their choice. Leave them alone. It is enforcement of laws that already exist. And before anybody says anything, no, it isn't um, making it legal for Johnny to go to school in his classroom and then become Ginny when he walks out. That's absolutely insanity. Uh, Deb's talked about that before. Frick, Donald
Right,
Trump with his
apparently
nonsense.
teachers and school nurses are, conducting transgender surgery while they're at school. That's what Donald Trump wants you to believe anyway, because he's literally the stupidest fucking man in America. Okay? He really is.
He goes from guns in school to transition surgery on, second graders
He's
in an elementary school. He's out of his mind.
the stupidest man in America. He really is a goof. He's really dumb. Stupid is the only way to describe him. He's not a stable genius. First of all, he's not stable. He's mentally ill, and he certainly is not a genius. Okay.
Right. He and his father discriminated against black workers in his hotel. Shady deals all over the place. Shady deals when trading his materials, whether it be steel or whatever. Fraud with the Trump University. Why on earth?
Refusing to pay contractors when they
Right,
built his buildings.
right.
So
Now,
you supporting him? I don't get it. Just like I don't get women supporting him, and I don't get freaking I don't get freaking gay
how
people supporting him.
and the just sheer hubris of this man to violate the amount of labor law that he has violated in his lifetime and then turn around and think that he's gonna get union endorsements.
Right.
It's just he's living in an alternate plane of reality. Okay, and all right. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna bring it up real quick, Deb. To like splinter off from the union thing to the uncommitted movement for a minute, for a second. The uncommitted movement says it's dissatisfied with what Kamala says she's going to do in terms of Palestine, but they also say you can't vote for Trump and you can't vote for third parties. So what are you doing here?
You fucking
Okay,
staying at home? Is that what you're going to do? Is that what the great uncommitted movement's going to do? What do
you're
you think
basic,
that will achieve?
right?
All right. What do you think that's going to achieve? It achieves absolutely nothing. It's proving that you're an asshole. It's as simple as that. I don't even want to hear it anymore. Okay. That is not the problem in America right now. Okay. Right now, this country comes first. Saving this nation comes first. And there are governments around the world that understand that. So
And
when
they're
the
watching
idiots in this
us.
country can't figure it out, then fine, let them do as they please. Okay. If they think this is the solution to their problem, good luck to them. Okay. Good luck to
And
them.
any union organizer that really think, please explain to me how Trump is going to help the unionized worker. He's not, and I know that. He's trying to dismantle the NLRB, which is the core of everything that we believe in.
That's right.
Okay, so what are you guys talking about? And by the way, yeah, Harry, you're not going to get everything you want. Everybody knows that. As a union organizer and a union representative, everybody will know that. But you go with the hand that's going to help you the most, and that is Kamala Harris. They just, you may not even like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it when it was Clinton back in 2016. I turned out to be completely wrong. Okay, we
I can
now
tell you
have
right now, we would not be here today. We would not
no,
be
we
anywhere
wouldn't.
near here today. Nowhere near where we are today.
We wouldn't.
We would.
And you know, there is no there is no bigger player that they're not what's the word? They're disingenuous and they're just wrong. Both Vance, who says you have to have children, but at the same time, he's backing a man who won't give parental leave or or child tax credits or anything, any kind of help or any kind of,
No,
I mean,
the man who can't tell you what his plan is to help pay for daycare.
right,
But JD Vance has the solution. Call Grammy and Grampy. Because now that they've raised you, they can raise your children too. Forget their fucking retirement. Okay? Get a clue, folks. Okay? This couldn't be any clearer. It could not
right.
be any clearer. All right?
And by the way, there are some families out there that aren't only taking care of their kids, but they're taking care of grandma and grandpa because they are infirm.
Right.
Okay. So stop stop trying to tell us how to do shit. We know how our life what's going on in our
The
lives. You
government needs
don't.
to stay out of our personal lives, is what it is. It's supposed to make our
Right.
lives easier, not get in the way. And right now, it's involved in too many aspects of our lives. And if Donald Trump gets in, Project 2025 will infiltrate all of our lives. Nobody will be safe from that. So I don't
Right.
care whether you're a white man or not, there's something in there to destroy the lives of everybody, no matter
Yep.
how you look at it.
And yes, I am a postal employee. I am a postal union rep. I've been a postal rep for 17 years, and friggin' Louis DeJoy is a cancer on the postal service.
Yep.
He's dragging it down. A business, you do not raise prices, lower service, and expect profits to soar. You just don't. I mean, let's call it what it is. He's looking to drive the postal service down enough to where they can privatize it.
Exactly.
That's what they're trying to do. You know it, I know it, we all know it.
We're on the other side of the coin. Bernie Sanders was trying to find a way to strengthen post offices by making it a bank for poor people.
Right,
Why not? Why not? Why not think
right.
outside the box? Okay?
At one point they were talking about grocery delivery. I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
But oh, and the other thing, when everything was going on, when we had COVID going on, postal workers were being forced to deliver when they were sick,
right.
not only driving their own health into the ground, but endangering their patrons and their coworkers. Donald, I mean, hey, come on. But that's what we have.
And by
That's
the
what
way,
we have for
anybody who
today.
may have forgotten
Yeah,
the havoc that Donald Trump wreaked on this country during COVID, I've got great pictures of the refrigerator trucks where they were putting bodies outside the hospital. Anybody
right,
wants to see my collection? Just, send me an email. Okay? That stuff wasn't made up. That was real
right,
for the
right,
benefit of all the COVID deniers out there.
right. And not for nothing. That was a union issue. And it wasn't just, oh, you guys aren't masking. It wasn't just that. And by the way, they were, and at the beginning, people were being told not to mask because it was scaring people.
Get over it, okay?
I had a big gas mask. I mean, it was a little over the top, but I was laughing. But it's like, whatever. But
I'm
guy,
going to tell you right now, I don't go into a food store, to food shop without a mask on. I just ain't going
right,
to do it. It's just not going to happen. I don't go to many stores because I hate shopping in general. But the one thing I don't want to do anymore is Instacart because it's just way too expensive and you don't always get what you need.
right,
So
right.
I've stopped doing that, but I do not shop without a mask on under any circumstance.
Now, was there, I know there was talk at one point. I know I didn't say anything, but it just came into my mind. Gig workers, was there any discussion on unionization of Instacart drivers, that kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't know. They were talking about it. I think they were talking about that in New York. I don't know if it went anywhere, but certainly the gig economy is losing some of its luster right now. Okay.
Right,
Um, I did it for a while. There is no way to earn money doing that. That is a
right,
nice thing to do on the side. If you're not
right,
making enough money from your real job, or you got time to kill on the weekend, you want to make some extra cash. But if you think you're going to drive for Instacart and be able to make enough money to pay your rent, you need to think twice about that because that is not a reality unless you are willing to work 24/7 in your car. I mean,
right,
you just can't earn that
right.
kind of money.
That and guys, you can't make money playing games on your phone.
Right.
That's just simply gambling. Just so you know, it's
Yep.
not a side hustle.
Right.
You have a little bit of extra cash, okay, that's cool, but nah, you're not gonna make a living playing freaking, playing solitaire or
I'll tell you
whatever.
what really turned me off.
Bingo.
I'll tell you what really turned me off, okay? I was driving for Instacart and
Yeah.
I decided, I mean, I've been in this for a while. I was homeless in the early 2000s and I had a refrigerator truck. I was driving for Horizon Foods, selling
Okay.
selling frozen, Omaha steaks and shrimp and whatever,
Pizza
and
stuff.
parking my
Yeah.
truck outside of my hotel at night and plugging it in to keep it refrigerated. You couldn't
Wow.
earn, and we would get paid in cash. You
Right.
still couldn't get enough money to pay your rent, no matter how much you drove and no matter how much, because the only people who were going to buy from Horizon Foods, which I do not believe now even exists anymore,
I don't think so.
the only people who were going to buy, you had to go to Newton and Wellesley here in Massachusetts, where people had the money to spend on that kind of stuff. So when I started driving for Instacart, I decided, okay, I'm going to go. I'll drive out to Newton and Wellesley, and I'll park, and then I'll turn my phone on, and I'll get my assignments from Newton and Wellesley.
Nope.
So what I ended up doing was delivering, lox and bagels to Biff and Tad at their college hotel dorm
Right, right, right,
every
right.
day. And then what finally did it for me was when I did the shopping for this woman, and I'm expecting to find someone who maybe can't get out of the house. And I carry her shit up 3 flights of back stairs to find her in her hot tub on her deck. And I looked at her and she was 30 years old. And I said to myself, I'm 62. What the fuck am I doing? And that was
Right,
it. I quit that day. I said, no, sir. No, siree. Nope. That
right.
ain't happening anymore. Nope.
Eh,
No way. I went
my
out and got
dad,
myself an hourly job.
yeah.
And that's it. I'm done.
My dad used to work for a company. You probably heard of it. Nobody will have heard of it, I don't think. Jewel T. You
Nope.
remember Jewel T?
Oh, kind of do. I kind of do.
Yeah, he was in the South, and basically they would just sell little. It was kind of like Amway, sort of. They would even sell their own little Jewel T trucks. They were actually pretty cool. I had several, obviously, as a kid, but yeah, that company went out of business. Um, it it may have even gone out of business because of the Amway kind of stuff that happened, but he ended up working for a trucking company.
No,
and became a union rep.
when this chick just goes like this to me, just leave it in the kitchen, just like that. Just leave it. She was lucky I
Oh,
didn't throw it. She was lucky I didn't throw the bags in her hot tub because I was close. I really was. I really was.
right,
I
right.
don't. So instead, when she turned it back, I opened the door and I just threw her bags in her kitchen instead. Whatever way she found them, she found them. Right. So that was the end of it for me right there. Just
Right.
throw those in the kitchen. So I literally threw them in the kitchen. It was either that or the hot tub. She should count her blessings. So
Well, yeah, it's stuff like, let's say, um, they pick up a bunch of stuff and we ordered one thing and it was another thing that was whatever. We call, we call because something was wrong. Let's say I ordered Gatorade and it was Gatorade Light or whatever it was. That driver is going to get docked for that, I would think. So, you know, I want my thing, but at the same, and I want to be reimbursed if I don't get the right thing. But at the same time, you feel bad because you're going to hurt the person. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So, um, no, I don't see being a driver like that as a
You can't
viable
earn
job
money
at
to
all.
survive on that. That's not it's not possible. When they will tell you things like you can earn up to $1,000 a day. You know that's
No way in
totally
hell.
ridiculous. That is absolutely not true in any fashion. If you were to drive, I even tried to do that by driving from 6 in the morning to 10 at night. Okay.
Right.
I didn't even come close. It's not feasible. It is not feasible. Okay. It's another pie in the sky promise. The only people making money on this are Instacart. Okay. Is
Well,
Insta
how much do you make? How much do you make as a driver?
I don't know. This was a while ago. I mean, what I know they did, at least in the case when I was driving, was whatever the price of the product was, they tacked 41 cents onto it. So picture this: you get a certain amount of money for driving,
Right.
and then you get 41 cents for every item you buy.
Okay.
So if you get 15 items for somebody, what are you making? Really?
Right.
15 times 41 cents. It's not even a buck. So that's like what?
Right.
That's close to 50 cents. So maybe you're making 7.50 for that order. It's a lot of work. So shopping in a store is a lot of work for that little amount of money.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
food shopping for your employment. And I can't stand food shopping for myself. So, to be, and then, you got to go where they send you. Might be Market Basket in Somerville because that's where that person wants it. Okay. And then, or you may have to go to Stop and Shop, or they may want you to go to Wegmans or Star Market or whatever. It's
So you go 40 miles away and then you go 40 miles another way and then you got to come back. Yeah. Uh, you're spending a ton. You're not making any money because you got to spend money on gas. I don't know if
you
they
got to spend
reimburse you for
money, and they're not
gas.
giving you money for gas, and
Ah, screw that.
they are not giving you money to upkeep your car. They're not.
Right.
You
Well,
can
I'm
think
not even
about
talking about upkeep, just like a gas credit of some sort. No, it's not worth it.
you don't get
It's
any
not
of that.
worth it.
You don't get any of that. It was the same thing with when I was driving to deliver newspapers. Okay,
Right.
you get $280 a week.
Right.
That you pay plus whatever your tips are. And frankly, where I drove, it was the rich part of Medford where I delivered. But
They were rich for a reason.
you may not see a tip until Christmas.
Right.
All right. So Christmas, the last year I drove Christmas, I made $5,000 in cash. But I drove for an entire 10 months to
Right.
bring home $5,000 in tips.
We used to do really well as as uh as letter carriers back in the day. I used to make 2 grand easy, off of my route, but that was 20 years ago. And on top of that, People don't have that kind of money anymore.
But you know, you got to consider this too. You're making $283 a week delivering newspapers, but
Right,
you're not getting paid by the hour. So
right,
that's what your
right.
fee is. That's what you make, right? So if your newspapers have to be delivered by 7:30 in the morning, which is what our goal was,
Right.
you got to go in there at midnight and start bagging and packing your papers. So
Right.
you're there from midnight until you leave at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And if it's raining, not only do you have to get your papers ready, but you got to put them in bags to keep
Yep.
them out of the rain. So
Yep.
you're working all of those hours, every single route, every single day and Sunday. Sunday, I had 280 papers to deliver. Okay. You're working all of those days for $283 a week. So people really need to think about those jobs are just I don't know what they are, but that's slave labor, and you're not able to pay any
Right.
bills. You can forget that.
You
That's
have any of those guys that said, don't throw my paper on my lawn?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure it's inside the door. Yep, yep. And then my
Yeah.
career ended when I went to deliver a newspaper in Medford, and the guy did not put ice melt down on his walkway,
Yep.
and
And that
I
was
fell
it.
on my knee all over.
Ooh, ooh,
They
ooh.
told me I had a broken kneecap. I really didn't have a broken kneecap. What I really had when they looked at my x-ray was I had a double kneecap. That's why it looked broken. So I had a double kneecap. But the doctor said to me, in spite of the fact that you do not have a broken kneecap, your paper delivery days need to be
Oh,
over.
yeah. Yeah.
so,
Right. Well,
so,
that's why, I mean, the guys that I saw delivering papers, they would just throw them out the car door or car window, and they wouldn't give a damn. And they don't care, if it's on the lawn, on the thing, and whatever. They they don't care.
yeah, no, I had
So,
people that delivered that way, but the people that live up in the Lawrence Estates, they care.
right.
They don't,
Of course they
and
do.
if you don't do what they ask, they will tell you. They will call and they will report you. So, you
Right.
know,
Of course.
so
Yep. Yep. All right, Deb.
all right, gang. We will see you next week. Same bat time,
Yep.
same bat channel.
That's all you need to know about the gig economy, guys.
Yeah. Stay
Right
away from
there
it.
in
Get
a
a real job.
nutshell. Stay the hell away from it. Get a real job and find a union. Seriously,
Seriously.
they're worth it. They're worth it.
Yep.
So.
Talk to you next week, gang.